Hey friends and fellow book lovers, I am here with Rip over there in the corner for a book haul, but this book haul is just Stephen King. I love Stephen King, I love his writing, and he has a really unique writing style, a really immersive writing style that draws you in. And so slowly but surely, I have been kind of on a mission to collect some of his novels to have in my book collection. And I have a pretty big Stephen King haul here to share. So these are books that I either bought on Book Outlet, I found at thrift stores, or I got at a library book fair. So I think I have 13 books here to share. I've only read a handful of them, and so most of these actually are new to me. I probably only read like one, maybe two Stephen King a year because of his very unique writing style and how immersive he is. It takes me a while to get through his books, and they can be intense. They can be intense reads. But I'm on a mission to read a little bit more of his novels in the future. And yeah, just wanted to have a really nice collection of his books. So the first book that I picked up is Duma Key. And I have seen many people say that this is their favorite Stephen King novel that they have read. So let's read the synopsis on the back. This is a pretty large novel. After a terrible construction site accident severed Edgar Fremantle's right arm, scrambled his mind, and imploded his marriage, the wealthy Minnesota builder faces the ordeal of rehabilitation, all alone and full of rage. Renting a house on Duma Key, a stunningly beautiful and eerily undeveloped splinter off the Florida coast, Edgar slowly emerges from his prison of pain to bond with Elizabeth Eastlake, a sick elderly woman whose roots are tangled deep in this place. And as he heals, he paints compulsively, his exploding talent both a wonder and a weapon. For Edgar's creations are not just paintings, but portals for the ghost of Elizabeth's past, and their power cannot be controlled. Very interesting premise, kind of supernatural leaning, and I like that it's set by the water. So picked up Duma Key. This next one is kind of just a classic, beautiful cover edition of Cujo. This is one of the hardest books that I have ever read because I am such an animal lover. The premise of this book is really challenging for me to think about, and it's just a really challenging book to read. So I gotta get that Target sticker off of there, but look at that cover. I don't know if this, I have another one that's like this too. I don't know if this was like the original mass market paperback cover, but I love this. It looks very old school, very vintage, beautiful cover of Cujo. So this is about a woman and a son who essentially gets stuck in a car with a rabid dog patrolling the outside of their vehicle. And it's a hot summer day, and essentially it's a fight for them to get out of the car. The car has broken down. For them to get out of the car and to safety past this rabid dog that keeps coming and trying to get to them, essentially. Very hard read. It is such a good book, though. It is a classic Stephen King, and I'm excited to have my own copy of Cujo. Then we have Skeleton Crew, and I love the cover of this one with the little toy monkey in the corner. I want to say this is a collection of short stories. Yes, this is a collection of short stories, and the first short story in this novel is The Mist. So I recently read The Mist not too long ago and loved it, but I did not read a lot of the other stories in this book, and so nice to have The Mist in this one, but also a collection of other of his short stories. Another short story collection is You Like It Darker. I have read, I believe, all of the stories that are in this novel, and I love, or this collection, I should say, I love the cover of this, the very beachy, aquatic look. There are 12 stories in this collection, and I want to say this is one of his newest releases. When was this released? 2024. Yes. So on the back, I love the quote from him on the back. It says, "You like it darker? Fine, so do I," by Stephen King. Shawshank Redemption. So Shawshank Redemption is actually a short story, and so this is not a large novel. It was included in one of his collection of short stories, and it says it was previously published as Rita Hayworth and Shawshank Redemption. But this is such a classic story, a beautiful movie, and it looks like they renamed it, I guess, to kind of go with how this story is known in modern, popularity. But had to pick up that. And I don't know if I've ever actually read this, and this looks like a really quick read. It's a little over 100 pages, so it would be perfect for a rainy afternoon, a weekend afternoon where I'm just stuck in the house for a few hours. I could read The Shawshank Redemption. Next is Firestarter. So I know that this is also a movie, and it even says here it's a major motion picture, but I have never seen it, nor do I know anything about it. I assume this little girl can start fires. Let's see what the back of this cover says. Andy and Vicky were once college students looking to make some extra cash, volunteering as test subjects for an experiment orchestrated by the Clandestine government organization known as The Shop. But the outcome unlocked exceptional latent psychic talents for two of them, manifesting in even more terrifying ways when they fell in love and had a child. Their daughter, Charlie, has been gifted with the most extraordinary and uncontrollable power ever seen, the ability to create fire with her mind. Now the merciless angels of the Shop are in hot pursuit to apprehend this unexpected genetic anomaly for their own diabolical ends by any means necessary. Okay, so a little girl that can create fire. How scary is that? I'll have to read the book first, but then watch that movie. The Long Walk. Now, I have seen a lot of people say that they love this novel, but I don't feel like it's one of his more popular ones. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, he has so many books. So I know nothing about this. Let's see what the cover says. Against the wishes of his mother, 16-year-old Ray is about to compete in the annual grueling match of stamina and wit known as the Long Walk. 100 boys must keep a steady pace of 4 miles per hour without ever stopping, with the winner being awarded the prize, anything he wants for the rest of his life. Interesting. So they have to walk 4 miles an hour without ever stopping. What an interesting concept. And this, again, is not a very large book, so I'm excited to give that a try. Any of these books that you have opinions on or that you've read, please let me know what you think of them. Then we have Holly. So this is about Holly Gibney that was in the Mr. Mercedes novels, and I have never read much of the Mr. Mercedes books, and so I would really need to go back and read those first. But I found this one on Book Outlet, and Book Outlet doesn't always have Stephen King books, and so when they do and they're very inexpensive, I jump on it. And so this is one that I can't read quite yet because I need to read his other Mr. Mercedes novels, I think, to even have an understanding of who Holly Gibney is. I've read some short stories with her in it, but I haven't dove into that character really at all. But I picked this up to have for when that time comes, and like I said, just kind of to add to my Stephen King collection. And then look at that cover. I love Love this cover. And this is a relatively recent release as well. I think maybe 2022, 2023. So excited for that. This one I found at Goodwill for $1.93, so that one made me really happy. And I've never heard of this, but it looks like it was a movie because it's starring Anthony Hopkins. And this one is Hearts in Atlantis. I've never heard of this one from him at all. And I felt like this paperback, I mean, it's loved, but it was in good condition. Oh, look, I found somebody's old Post-it note in there. So I'll have to see if there's anything on that. But yeah, had never heard of this book. So it really doesn't say on the back what it's about. It kind of is a little bit of an homage to Stephen King, but it sounds like it's about the 1960s. Entertainment Weekly says this is wonderful fiction. King's take on the 60s, including the effects of Vietnam, is scarily accurate. So I'm assuming it's about the 1960s and events that happened in the 60s. So we'll give that one a try. I still need to read 11/22/63. That one is very high on my list to read. And yeah, it's just finding the time to read a book that big. Next I found, also from Goodwill, this one was $3.99. And this is part of the Dark Tower series, Wolves of the Calla, maybe, if I'm saying that right. So I haven't read the Dark Tower series at all, and obviously this is farther into the series. This is a big this is a big book. What's interesting about this copy is it has some pictures in it, which I think is really neat and fun. So again, picked this up because it was at Goodwill and it was inexpensive. Like I said, this is $4, and so I would have part of this collection. I listen to a lot of audiobooks. That's mainly how I intake my books. But with a book that's this big, sometimes it's easier for me to read. There's just something about reading it that I can digest more of it. I don't know. And so we'll add this to the collection and see if I can find the rest of the Dark Tower series so I can dive into that. If you guys had read that series, let me know what you think. And then the last three that I have are just absolute classics from him. I'll save my favorite for the end. I'll give you a guess. What is my favorite Stephen King novel? This video, put it in the comments below if you have an idea. But next is Christine, killer car that has a little bit of a revenge mission on her mind. And this one's a really fun book. I need to find Carrie and just, yeah, so many on my list. This one I also found at Goodwill and I was so excited to find it. I got it for $1.93, The Stand. So many say that this is his best novel. This is a really big book. I have never read this. I have tried reading this a couple of times, but this is such a big novel. It's hard for me to get through. And I've read many big books in my life, but the last time I tried to read this, it was just a few months ago. I listened to the audiobook or tried listening to it, and it's like a 48-hour audiobook or something like that. And about 8 hours in, I just realized I don't really know what's going on. Sometimes when I listen to audiobooks, I'm cleaning, I'm walking, I'm driving, I'm doing other things. I'm always multitasking when I'm, listening to an audiobook. And I felt like it just confused me. So I'm hoping having the physical book that I don't have to return to the library at any time, I can actually sit and read it and get through it, that I will enjoy it a lot better, because I know so many people love this book. And I think it's probably his most popular, and I'm sure for really good reason. So if you've never heard of The Stand or know anything about it, it's essentially about a flu-like disease that spreads very quickly and wipes out most of the population. I think 99% or something like that. And the people that are left is essentially kind of a good versus evil type of a story. So this pandemic-like flu that takes out most of the world, and then whoever is left a little battle between good and evil. So that is The Stand. And then lastly, my favorite Stephen King book, and if I can take this sticker off, also a cover similar to Cujo that I was so excited about. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get something kind of wet to take that sticker off. But Pet Sematary. Is that cover not amazing? Especially once I can get this dang Target sticker off. I found this on Book Outlet for so cheap, and just the cover of this is everything. This book is so scary. It is so good. I love this. I love the movies. I love the remakes of the movies. An absolutely amazing story. So this is about this doctor named Lewis Creed, and he moves his family to a house in Maine. And he's got this neighbor across the street named Judd. And Judd takes him and shows him this pet cemetery that's behind their house in the woods. And it's where, you know, many people over the years have buried their pets when they have passed. Well, just beyond that cemetery, there is a burial ground. And whatever you bury there comes back to life. But like they say in Pet Sematary, sometimes dead is better. So I'll leave it at that to not give spoilers away, but it is such a great book. One of my favorite books in general, and definitely my favorite Stephen King novel. So glad to have my own copy. That is it. Kind of a different video for my channel, but I do books on here occasionally as well, and so wanted to share my latest Stephen King haul. If you've read any of these, let me know what you think, or is there any books on your list that are high to read from him? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in my next one. Happy reading.